today on Divorce Court.
My husband walked out on me about 2 months ago and I want some answers.
I'm just tired.
I want the judge to tell Frank that we need therapy and some anger management classes.
Her health problems have been getting too bad. We've been having a bunch of financial problems, and I just need to get away from her.
Sometimes I do feel like Frank has given up on the relationship, and then sometimes I feel like he hasn't. When my husband walked out, I was very angry, betrayed. I would really like to work things out in the long run.
It's gone downhill to the point where I don't think I can.
Divorce Court is now in session.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here today with Nancy Pickle and Frank Pickle. Mr. and Mrs. Pickle, you have been together for 10 years, married for 6, and you have 1 child together. You do not want to be together anymore. Mrs. Pickle, you are seeking transitional support as well as the dog because you both have a canine and you both want him. Before we talk about that, Mrs. Pickle, I'm going to start with you. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your marriage and why we're here in divorce court today?
About 3 months ago, my husband, Frank, left me without warning, took off one day and didn't come back. And that's one of the main problems.
Well, why don't you give me a little history or background
Sure.
of how we got to the place where my man just left?
Well, my husband used to be in the Navy, and when we first met, he wasn't really working or doing anything, so I encouraged him to join the Navy because I thought it would better him and us. And he did really good at it. He excelled. We were happy, and then it kind of caught up with us, with me mostly. It was very hard on me, losing my identity and following his career, and quitting school for myself because I had to travel with him. And then it became a problem after the deployments and never being home and getting pregnant, and those are problems people have a hard time enough with, but being in the military makes them equally more challenging.
Okay. Mr. Pickle, what is your take on what she's talking about? You did enjoy the Navy, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
But it didn't sit well with her. How did she respond to it?
It basically, like the long hours, like I did think it was taking a toll on her, of me, and never being home. And then I think she started to resent me, after that because she thought I was picking the Navy over her.
How did her distress manifest itself? What was happening at home where you knew that it was a problem?
I noticed a change just because, example, a family member came to visit us, and Nancy just stayed in the bedroom the whole time. Didn't want anything to do. Didn't want to go out and do anything.
And engage. What was your response to that? What did you do when you saw what was happening?
I just...
Not a damn thing.
Just continue.
It's basically the answer to that one. So how did your dissatisfaction manifest itself in the marriage? What was going on? Did you start to bicker? Did you
The pregnancy.
Were you depressed? What happened?
The pregnancy and the hormones is where it started for me.
What happened?
Mostly.
Well, tell me about it. Give me a story.
I went a little crazy, loco, for like a little bit there.
When you say loco,
Little bit.
again, that's a description. Tell me something.
I felt that way.
I understand that.
Because I was jealous a lot, and I never been jealous of other women before. Like, I would say, you were looking at her. She looks, I never was a jealous kind of female. Until
Tell me some other stories about your behavior at that point in time.
I'm not proud of it.
Okay.
But one time we were at the beach, and I was probably about 9 months pregnant, and I had gotten fed up with him looking at other women right in front of me. I mean, men look, but I just felt it was disrespectful, so I threw my ring in the ocean.
Never let your emotions manage your money.
I cried for days.
You know what I mean?
After that. Yeah.
I would take it off and put it in my purse, but it would not see the ocean. Mr. Pickle, when you noticed that she was distraught, distressed, emotional, whatever going on, how did you respond, or did you?
I would try to say, hey, it's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna work out. I.
Can I help you out, Mr. Pickle? And I'm gonna help you out, and I think I'm gonna help all the men in the world. I have found that men don't do well with a woman's distress. They don't do well with a woman's illness. They don't do well with hospitals. They don't do well with things that they don't know how to fix, manage, and control. So either they get mad about it or they ignore it. I ain't mad, that's just what happens. Got a house full of men. Figured this out. A husband, 6 sons, male dog. I know what's up. Here's the thing. The way to help a woman in a situation where you feel lost is to say, talk to me, baby. How do you feel? Then you kick back and you absorb what she said. Then you ask questions about it. Well, why did that make you feel that way? You don't have to fix it. You don't have to micromanage it, but you have to let her share how she feels with you, because that, the hearing of it, in and of itself, helps resolve our distress, okay? That's just a lesson for you. Now, I want to go forward to the crazed activity that occurred at the hospital right after the baby was born.
That was crazy.
Nancy, she flipped out, started yelling at the nurses and doctors and everybody, and she locked herself in the bathroom. Mm-hmm. Said, I can't deal with this anymore. And the nurse came in.
You mean the military men with big guns that were intimidating?
Who called the police? There was some bizarre behavior at the hospital after you had a baby. Please tell me what happened.
I don't know. I just like the hormones, and then he would come in and I'd give me dirty looks, and I'd just be like, you giving me dirty looks and I just had your child. Why are you giving me, I just was so upset how I was being treated after, just giving birth. And he said I was imagining it. I don't know those looks because I still see him every once in a while. So I know that he was doing that. I just want to know why. I don't know why he was doing them.
Was he saying anything to you?
No, it was just like, like a look. That's mostly what happened.
No, it didn't.
No, Your Honor.
Oh.
It's not at all what happened.
I don't know what he said.
You tell me what happened at the hospital.
The labor went fine. It was quick.
Right.
We were so happy. Mm-hmm. A second day, the doctors said that they needed to keep the baby overnight. And one more night, I had to run some more tests on her just to make sure we could bring her home. Nancy, she flipped out, started yelling at the nurses and doctors and everybody, and she locked herself in the bathroom and said, I can't deal with this anymore. And then, I was like, okay, just calm down. They just want to keep her overnight. Hey, just one more night, we'll be home the next day.
Then the authorities got involved, did they not?
Because you...
The next day, we got into a verbal argument. And
then you went and told the police.
And then the nurse came in.
Then who came in?
And the nurse came in.
You mean the military men with big guns that were intimidating?
Who called the police?
And the nurses. They called the MPs in.
So what happened with the baby after that?
Well, his close family member, unbeknownst to me, he was talking to them, came down and intervened with taking the child away behind my back.
Did you give your family member permission to take the baby?
I thought, yes, Your Honor, just because a CPS was getting involved and they were about to put, I was afraid that they were going to put
him in foster care, so you thought this was a better resolution.
So no one would see her.
Right.
And I did that.
Did you consult with your wife before you did that?
Nope.
Wow.
No, just because it was too, things were happening at such a fast rate that, It's
because you let your close family member control your
okay. I also understand that as a function of what occurred that day, you eventually lost custody of your baby, and I want to figure out how that happened. It's not only was it a legally crazy circumstance, but on a personal level, for instance, that family member had a birthday party and didn't invite you.
Nope.
And
I had to explain to my daughter why I wasn't coming.
I was very upset at this family member.
And what'd you do about it? Did you eventually lose custody?
Guardianship, yes.
Guardianship.
Yes,
how did that occur?
Well, he signed temporary guardian. Frank signed temporary guardianship to the close family member.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't sign anything. And then there were some court dates and hearings that I had no idea about. I was pretty emotionally not there. I needed somebody really to help me with my goings and comings because I was distraught, and that's mostly why. And then the judge just ordered it permanent guardianship up behind my. I had no idea.
So were you just so disengaged, not purposely, but because you were emotionally unprepared,
depression, maybe, or something like that? I was just.
You didn't know what was happening around you.
No.
Mr. Pickle, what happened? How did guardianship get transferred to someone else?
I traveled with our daughter with the family member under the understanding that it was going to be temporary, a guardianship, so that when things calmed down and back at home, that we would get her back.
Right.
So then I ended up having to come back to go to work still in the Navy, and then that's when I found out that the judge had granted the family member a permanent guardianship, would totally throw me off.
How do you find something out like that out? There are proceedings, there are documents, you read them, you go to court, hey, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. This is because courts are not really fond of taking kids from their biological parents.
We lived in Virginia.
There had to be opportunities. Weren't you paying attention? You know what I would have done? I'd have sold all my clothes. I'd have sold my car. I would have sold everything. Got me an attorney.
That's what I did.
And bopped my little behind down there.
That's what I did.
And went in there like Johnny Cochran.
Yeah. I agree.
My understanding is not only was it a legally crazy circumstance, but on a personal level, for instance, that family member had a birthday party and didn't invite you.
Nope.
That upset
and I had
me
to explain to my daughter why I wasn't coming.
And I was very upset at this family member.
And what did you do about it?
It's not in the best.
What did you do about it?
Nothing.
Not a darn thing. It's because I couldn't. This whole situation is just totally. You couldn't even make a Lifetime movie out of it. You
know why? Because you actually have to have people who participate. You didn't participate. You know what I mean? I don't think she was able to participate. I think she should have participated more, but I think she was having an emotional issue situation, some postpartum depression. Something was way wrong over there. And you didn't step up and say, this is my kid, I'm handling the situation. You just let it happen to you. I don't even understand.
This family member has a major impact on his life, always has, his decision making. So, yeah.
Do you have the baby back now?
No, I'm in the process of still fighting for it. Like I said, it's really expensive. I've had to do, like you said, sell.
Right, yeah, sell everything. All that.
Yeah. Right now, I'm working on it, going back.
Are you helping getting that baby back?
He lives with her.
I'm doing whatever I can. You
don't care if she gets custody or not, do you?
I do, ma'am. I do.
You're with the baby, so you're fine.
I do, ma'am. I'm not. You don't know how bad I want her.
I think he wants to now. I think he thinks I'm not a bad mom or anything. But I don't.
She gets visitation.
You don't stand up to this person that has her enough.
Despite what I'm seeing here today, my understanding is that Mr. Pickle has an anger problem, there are alcohol problems, and money problems. Let's talk about those things. Do you think he has anger management issues?
The anger is still there, but it's not as bad. I'll give him that. Before, he used to prevent me from leaving by jumping on cars, punching holes in walls, screaming at me. He hasn't done that in a very long time. But now it's more, he goes from highs to lows. Like he's in a good mood for 1 second and relaxing, and then something goes wrong. He's like a Hulk.
Yeah. Psychologist.
Yes,
psychologist to figure out why you and your family has such control over you, why you didn't fight harder for your wife and your baby, why you jumping up and down on cars, and why you come in here with a complete lack of affect. Psychologist.
And I have a
Now, you're fighting over, you want $3,000 in transitional support,
yes.
And there's a dog at issue.
Yes,
Why don't you tell me about both of those things?
Well, we both got the dog at the same time together. He's more attached to me a little bit, and I've raised...
What kind of dog is he?
He's a Chihuahua Beagle.
Oh, okay.
And I've been around him more because he's been deployed in the Navy, you know, doing all that, and he's more attached to me, and I'm more attached to him. And
Ms. Pickle, what about the $3,000 in transitional support? Tell me.
When he left me in that spot, I had no place to live. I'm still going through Airbnbs and all that, and he's got a stable environment.
Had he been the primary breadwinner throughout your relationship?
Yes, mostly. But when he got in the Navy, I worked 3 jobs, and before he joined the Navy, I worked 2 jobs.
Okay.
Until he
Mr. Pickle, when you walked off, did you do so without any regard to her financial situation?
At the point, we both didn't have anything.
Yep.
And she had just wrecked our only means of transportation. A transportation for me to go to work and back.
Are you working now?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you working now?
No, ma'am.
Do you feel any obligation whatsoever to help this woman out? The
Yes.
baby's gone, you're
Yes.
gone. Do you really want this dog?
And the dog, I'm giving him a temporary home until we both get back on our feet.
You're already more on your...
Mr. Pickle, you need to get a spine so you can stand
one
up
with
to
me.
your
That's
family
about
and be
it.
the man that you told her you would be when you promised to marry her. You need to get some motivation so you just don't let things happen to you and allow your family to be shattered. You know, everybody goes through difficulty. Everybody goes through psychological and everything, and then you just like, well, it happens, da 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 da. And you need to get a conscience and a moral compass to see what has happened to this woman and feel horrible about the situation she's in and move heaven and earth to make her feel better. That's what you need to do.
And Judge, I said the same exact thing you said last night, almost the same thing. That's why I said chills.
Yeah.
The empathy is, I said, this big problem. I need to see empathy.
He has none. Mrs. Pickle,
Yes, ma'am.
you're stronger than you think, you're more intelligent than you believe, and you're more valuable than you accept. And I want you to believe that every day. You are not what happened to you. It's you are how you respond. And I want you to respond like a queen.
Right.
You know what I mean? Respond like a queen. So what you'll need to do is take this $500 a month that he's gonna be giving you until he's got $3,000, and you need to take that money, you know, get stable, and buy some dog food, because the dog is gonna be yours. This matter is adjourned.
You. I feel like I deserve to have my daughter back. I'm a good mother. I think my circumstances with the marriage is what hindered it by myself. I'm not sure if we're gonna work out or not, but for our daughter's sake, I'd like to try, but I think on my own, I would do just as good as well. He's a good person. We just have to see what the future holds. But my daughter's #1 always with any decision I make.